I think the one thing which I always tell myself is I have to be grateful to the fact saying that I'm playing at such a good level at this time, and a lot of players have not been able to do that. And so there is something right which I'm doing right now. So keep enjoying this. 2018 until 2021, it was a time where a lot of things were not falling in place. Had health issues, had extreme gut issues which happened, and we didn't have answers for a very long time. And seen a lot of players do this mistake where the things which you have done 4 or 5 years back is not going to work now. I think the times change, people change, your body change, science change. So you'll have to cope up with it.
On Table Talk with Joe, today's guest is HS Prannoy, India's top-ranked badminton player. As India heads into Asian Games and then later on to the Olympics next year, he talks to me about his journey, about 2 years where health kept him out of competitive badminton and what it took for him to make it right at the top. I call him a thinking man's badminton player. Thanks so much for doing this, Prannoy, and taking time out of your busy schedule. You're on your way to the World Championships, aren't you?
Yeah, after a few days.
It's tough, isn't it? I mean, does it give you time to recover, to reset, to think of say you just finished the Australian Open? Does it give you time to sit down and look back at that, or is it time to just quickly go on to the next one?
I think I got 24 hours to sit on my couch. That's it. That's it. And I just have to get going, I think. That's how I think the calendar is for us as badminton players. The calendar is pretty hectic. And especially getting into an Olympic qualification period, I think it gets even more intense. But I think, we just have to keep doing the same routine and be at it, because that's your job. And I think the last few years I've been able to enjoy this process much more than before. I'm actually in a very good space, so it's fine.
That's good to know, actually, really, because you've had your ups and downs as well, and I'm just going to come to that. But you're heading into the World Championships, and it's looking like a somewhat of a tough draw for you. Does that play mentally, or how do you go about it when you look at these draws?
I don't really look into the draws, especially in the probably in the last 1 2 years. I've been really not checking the draws as such, because I know the fact saying that the entire draw depends on how I play and not how my opponents play. And so my only focus is to check how my body is and how I'm physically and mentally out there and for a particular event. And then the draw will take care of itself. So I'm not really worried about the draws happening, or how the draws has come for me for a particular tournament. It's just on the preparation side, how well I can prepare for each opponent. And that's the only thing which kind of matters to me recently.
You've been quoted as saying somewhere that you tend to keep your expectations low.
Yeah.
Is that still the case?
Yes, I keep it very low, because I think before there used to be a lot of planning and expectations for a particular tournament, particular events as such, especially getting into bigger tournaments. There tends to be a lot of planning, not just from the player side, but I think from all the spheres. I think a lot of expectation comes into place, and that has never worked well for me, because I've realized that kind of takes unnecessary pressures, and I kind of tend to take unnecessary pressure, and that has never made the journey better. So I think I've kept that expectations aside. I've always taken bigger tournaments as just one more tournament, and to make sure that the preparations are going very similar to how I do on a regular basis, so that my mind is much more relaxed, and physically also I'm in a very good space. So I keep playing the underdog game as much as possible, because that kind of gets me to a good mental space, and I'm always happy doing that.
Now, I want to talk about that mental space and preparation, but before that, what you just told me, is it all the benefit of hindsight, or what people say maturity? You're 30. Is that something that has come over time?
Yes, I would say yes, because almost 12 to 13 years of being in the circuit, I think I've learned a lot of things. I've seen a lot of players, played against a lot of top players out there who I think I never imagined I would have played against. I think I got an opportunity to play against those names when I was 25, 26. So I think a lot of learnings came from those matches, those events. And I think getting into an age group which is 29, 30, I've realized that the most important thing is to enjoy this process every single day. And if you are aiming at performance, then this journey becomes really tough. And so it's really important to go the other way to probably do this process in a much happier phase and let the results take care of itself. And I'm sure that results will come when you're doing this process, right? So I think that's a change which has happened in the last few years. And if you say it's experience, I would say yes, it's experience.
Well, the results are showing. You've had a stupendous year and a half. But do you feel the pressure of, in a sense that there's only that much time at the top, or or the younger players, or players like Lakshya right at your heels?
Yes, sometimes I feel that sometimes when I'm sitting on my couch and not doing anything, and when I just think about the next few years, I realize that okay, I might not have too many years playing at the top, but I think the one thing which I always tell myself is I have to be grateful to the fact saying that I'm playing at such a good level at this time, and a lot of players have not been able to do that, and so there is something right which I'm doing right now. So keep enjoying this because it's really important to feel every single day and keep enjoying these moments because those 3 4 years you're not going to get this feeling back. So it's really important to enjoy this full phase of life where I think I'm playing one of the best badminton I've ever played in my career.
You also had to work hard health-wise, right, to reach this from I think about 2018 to 2020, 21. It was a bit of a
Yeah.
tough health journey. What was that like? Both physically and mentally. When you're just daring to get out there and perform.
Whenever something happens physically, then it kind of directly affects your mental health, and I think it's very much interlinked. Then especially when it comes to sports, is definitely a physical thing first, which comes first, and then it kind of straight away hits you in a very different kind of a way mentally. And I would say yes, 2000 since 2018 until 2021, it was a time where a lot of things were not falling in place. Had health issues, had extreme gut issues which happened, and we didn't have answers for a very long time. And I remember for a good 1 year, I was continuously going to hospitals, meeting doctors and physicians, and trying to get an answer for this, but it never worked out. And there's a lot of mental stress going behind that to even understand what this could be, and that was the main reason behind it. And if somebody had come and told me, say, see, boss, this is your issue, then I would have been happy saying that, okay, I have, this is my issue and I just need to work for this. The more toughest part was, it was very tough to diagnose what I had. It took more time than usual. And post that, I think we had a lot of injury issues in 2019 when I was trying to get better at the health thing. Then a lot of injury issues came cropping in 2019. Then we had the COVID also post 19, and that was another 1 year of break which happened. Yes, so altogether it was almost a 3 good years of your prime age, which kind of went into not much of work which was actually done in that 3 years, to be honest. So it took a toll, I would say. But I think post 21, I would say I was really determined in the fact saying that I want to get back to the say where I was placed before. I think 2018 when the health issue kind of cropped in, I think I was ranked around 10 in the world. I was playing really well at that point, and straight away I just lost everything for the next 2 3 years. So I think trying to come back to a sport uh, uh, where I where I wanted to be back in the top eights. And I think the work kind of started in 2021. And the last 2 years has been good. Touch wood, and I think a lot of people who have been helping me day in day out to make sure that we are back playing at the best.
What does it take to get back, to this top level that you reached from where you were?
I think the first thing is obviously the courage to do something different. Um Because I've seen a lot of players do this mistake where um, the things which you have done 4 or 5 years back is not going to work now. I think the times change, people change, your body change, science change. So you'll have to cope up with it. You'll have to understand that what things worked well for you probably 5 years back is not going to work now. You have to find something else which is going to work right now. And I've seen a lot of players do the same mistake, saying that I've done this in the past, so I'm going to do the same thing now. I'm going to be a champion again now. I think that's not going to work. And the thing which is going to work is what new thing are you going to include in your program? And for that, you need the guts to try new people, new regime. And I think that's one thing which I did from 2021, where I started to trust new people. I started to trust the science. I wanted to kind of know what more I can do from a scientific point where I can get my body back to the best. I was trying a lot of things, and that worked. I would say that worked. If I had stuck in the past saying that, okay, 5 years back I did this and I played well, and if I had kind of doing the same thing right now, I'm sure that I would have been struggling with injuries and been still been ranked somewhere around 35, 40.
And the mental health aspect of it, tell us something. In your opinion, is there enough support for Indian athletes when it comes to athletes' mental health?
No, I would say we are nowhere near to the support which we actually need, because first of all there is a big gap between the players, and obviously to understand that there is a need for mental health to be addressed actually. And I think a lot of players doesn't know about it. First of all, that we need to address this issue. They always think that this needs to be sorted out within, and they don't try to seek help outside. And that's one thing which I think we'll have to change over a period of time. But I would say the last 3 years post COVID, there has been a lot of discussion on the mental health aspect, and a lot of people have come forward expressing that they have issues which they need to sort out. And so I'm glad that there is a change which has happened in the last few years, but I would still say that there is a long gap, especially coming to a professional athlete. The problems are different. I mean, everybody's problems are different. A lot of them doesn't want to share it with a lot of people and seek help. So I hope in the next few years we have this culture getting much bigger, where we have a lot of experts. I think now we have a lot of experts in India who's good enough to kind of help the athletes on this issue. But I hope the players kind of takes that step first, saying that I need to get this done. I need to be in a very good mental space to actually perform well at the highest level. And I'm glad that I took that step in 2021, started to work with psychologists, started to work with a lot of people. That has made life much easier, I would say. You kind of open up to a lot of issues within yourself, game, personal life. I think everything is interlinked, and you just need to keep expressing yourself, which is very important, because you're traveling almost half of the year. That pressure is entirely different. So whenever you're traveling, also you need to be in a very good space. So I think that's really, really important when it comes to playing at the highest level.
So how do you keep yourself motivated through all of this? Through this very tough routine in a way.
Motivation is a tough word. I used to tell this word 3, 4 years back, saying that I'm not motivated enough. I still say sometimes, but I would say motivation is probably not a right word. We can probably call it something else. But I think the most important thing is, am I getting better the next day? Is my question to myself. Am I trying something to actually get myself better on court the next day? Before I used to skip sessions. If I'm not well, then I used to skip sessions, and those kind of feeling used to come. But I would say in the recent past, I'm always so excited to go to the session next day. I don't know why, but last 2, 3 years, I'm so excited to get up early. I don't sleep much. I just get up way too early, especially tournament times. I'm just so eager to get back to the routine, do something. And probably that's because I've started enjoying this whole process, where I've seen the improvement in myself and I've been consistent enough. So that consistency is what is the motivation, to be honest. And So I know that even if I don't push 100% every day, I'm still okay. But I'm really happy if I just go to the session, do 50%, 60% of what I can do. I'm just really happy to do that. So I think that has changed whole perspective of this motivation as such.
Yeah, well, it's showing. So, the results are showing, and obviously you are doing something right. But, you recently put up a little bit, sometime back, you put a post on LinkedIn, which was fairly upsetting, speaking about how at the top of the game as India's top badminton player, branding and corporates is still not coming. Has anything changed since that post?
Yeah, I think a lot of things have changed, and I'm sure it will keep changing, and things will keep getting better. I remember I had a very good response from LinkedIn for that post, and a lot of people came out and kind of expressed what they want to do, especially to the sport. But I think my concern was obviously to the sport, obviously, because we are getting into a fact saying that badminton is a very expensive sport to play, and it's not easy to actually play the sport without support. And so I hope that I think as players who are especially in the junior ring, say junior run, they will get more support in say the coming years, so that they can actually pursue this dream of becoming a world champion or an Olympic champion. Because the dream starts straight away from the age of 10, where you kind of pick up your racket and then you start playing. But that 10 to when that first 12 to 15 years of journey is super hard. And a lot of them kind of stop this journey in between because there is no financial support coming in. So I hope that changes in the next few years, and a lot of bigger corporates comes into the sport and help this journey of getting more Olympic medals to our country, getting more World Championship medals to our country. And I'm pretty much optimistic that in the next few years we'll have a big change coming in.
Is it frustrating though that you had to go out and say this? I mean, when let's just say, and let's just call it out, a cricketer won't have to do this.
Maybe, yes. But I would say for every sport there is a journey. And I think badminton kind of had this journey coming straight from 2010, when I think Saina got this sport to an entirely different level. I think it all started from Saina's journey, and then from there on we had Sindhu, who got this sport to probably to the next level post 2016. And I think these kind of changes keeps coming in a sport, and I would say yes, definitely badminton is number two sport in the country, straight behind cricket. But yes, sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes it's sad to see that a lot of things doesn't happen very easily on the sport. You are playing back to back. You're playing Super Series finals. A lot of them are playing. A lot of them are winning big medals. But we don't see that drastic change coming in that 1 year. And probably there is only interest in the sport when it comes to the Olympic period. And 1 week of Olympics is the only time where there is a lot of change which happens in a sport. And post that 1 week, then again for the next 4 years there is no change in the sport. So that is something which is little sad to actually know. And I hope that it will keep changing in the years to come.
When you're talking about the Olympics, you've got the Asian Games coming as well. Do you have to change your mindset for the fact that suddenly the whole country as well wakes up and says, come on, get us that medal? Because it's a very tunnel vision for Indian fans.
Yes, it's a lot of pressure for I think any of the sports person. But as sports person, you have to understand that this is how sport works. And when you're playing well, then you are the star, and you just have to take it. So, and that's where a lot of fun is also. Where I would say it is fun to have that pressure, to know that the entire country is backing you, entire country is trusting in your instincts of playing. And I think that's something which a lot of them doesn't even get to feel. And I think I'm grateful and honored to be in that elite list, to kind of experience that day out. And yes, Asian Games and Olympics is going to be big events for I think any of those athletes in India. I think not just badminton. I think any sport out there, the pressure is on, and you have to perform under pressure. And I think there is no backing off from that. There is no running away from that. You have to take it. You have to learn how to do that. You have to train for that. You have to train for that. And yes, I'm training for it. And let's see how well we can excel in these big events.
Indian badminton, do you think it's in a good space? I feel, that there was this stage where, as you said, Saina kicked it all off, and it was women's badminton that everybody was speaking about. But suddenly, it's about men's badminton that the country is speaking about. It's about you. It's about the doubles. It's about Lakshya. It's about the upcoming boys. वो पलड़ा जो एक से दूसरी तरफ, the balance keeps shifting, doesn't it?
Yes, I think it's wonderful to be honest because and these kind of things keeps happening, and that's that era of players which keep changing. Nothing is for to be honest, and I think Saina did her part, Sidhu did her part, Sidhu still playing, and Sidhu keeps producing those big results whenever it's needed. And I think she's somebody who is always a big player out there for bigger events. She's always much more prepared, ready, and but as you said, yes, the recent past 2 3 years, I think we can see Chirag and Satvik kind of keeping that, getting that barrier a little bit more higher, and saying that, boss, it's not enough to play just Super Series final, but you got to win it. And I think that's kind of a big motivation to the rest of the team members. To me, I think that has changed a lot of things. You always believe that if these guys can do it, then why not us? And that's what has changed in the last 2 3 years, where Chirag Satvik been so consistent with their performances. So that kind of gives a very good positive vibe to the entire camp coming into training sessions. You can feel that there is an urge of winning every single time you get onto the court. You want to train hard because these guys are training hard in the left side of your court. I also want to train hard, and so this kind of a structure is always good for the sport. A good 4 5 players playing together in that season, and that just because one starts playing, there's always a positive mindset coming into the camp. I think the support staff also feels that positive side of it, and I think everything starts to flow well. When somebody is not, or probably few of them are not playing well, then you can see that whole season would be like nobody's kind of playing well. So I think that's part of the sport, and I hope that we can bring something big for the country. I think the boys can bring something big for the country in the next few months. Hoping for that.
Chirag and Satvik have spoken about how, now it's no longer about, the Chinese are coming. It's more about, for the Chinese, the Indians are coming. Is that the
Yeah.
feeling now that across the Indian badminton camp that, everyone's beatable finally?
Yeah. I think that feeling has come since quite some time, I would say, not just the last 1 2 years. In the last 4 5 years, we always had that saying that now everybody is kind of noticing us. We are like saying that we are not underdogs anymore. And I think Thomas Cup was one big statement out there saying that we are not underdogs anymore, and we are the champions, and we are still world champions. So that was one big statement which kind of changed the whole belief, especially in the men's side post Thomas Cup, saying that, oh, there's something big which happened, and this can happen also, which we never thought which would happen in something like a team event, but that happened. And I would say yes, that shift has happened. Now everybody's kind of watching us, and everybody's kind of having plans for us. So you have to be even more careful.
You got married earlier this year, and so normally if I were to ask somebody who had a regular 9 to 5 job, I'd say, what is your work-life balance? But I'm not sure I can ask you that question given that you're on tour half the year. How does that pan out?
It's tough. It's tough to have, obviously, uh, family when you're traveling these many weeks in a year. But I think I've somebody who is very well understanding of the fact, saying that this is something which is my job, and I need to do this. This is what I've been signed up for since last 15 years, 20 years, and I'll have to keep doing this. And they've been very supportive, and whenever I am in town, I make sure that I give the full time to her, and whenever we are able to go out, we go out for vacations. Whenever it's possible, I try to do that because that's the only thing which I can do.
So downtime, I mean, you just said right at the beginning of this conversation, 24 hours on the couch, and that was it. Is that what your downtime looks like?
Yeah, my downtown is my couch when I'm taking the return flight, saying that how much time I can sit on my couch. So because I know that's probably max to max is 24 hours, and then I have to get up and start getting back onto my routine. So yeah, that's my favorite sport, to be honest.
Top of your form, you're the top of, you're India's number one badminton player at this level. You've got so much coming up, so much to look forward to. Are you taking this one day at a step, or you have bigger dreams?
Just one day at a step. I think I've stopped planning for a planning long-term goals. That's one thing which I've stopped doing in my life. And, this is not a suggestion to the youngsters, but this is something which I do. I would say to the youngster, you should always look at the long term and not the short term goals. But I'm somebody who is just taking it one day at a time and just enjoying this whole process, because I know planning way too much kind of doesn't work out well for me, and kind of gives you a lot of extra pressure as in that you want to meet these goals and you want to get better in this. And I think more important than that is to probably work on the shorter goals, have a lot of planning for the shorter goals, and try to meet those goals first. Then the long term goal would be automatically you will achieve. So the most important thing is to probably focus on the shorter goals.
I've really enjoyed listening to you and your thought process. I've really tried to like go beyond what a badminton player, a top badminton player is, what really makes that person tick. And I think I've got a fair bit of idea into what makes you tick. But you've got the World Championships coming up, and I'm really wishing you all the best. And hope to
Thank
speak
you.
with you again in the future. But thanks for now and for taking the time out.
Thank you. Thank you, Jyotsna.